It is 100% what they did against Nevada gaming law, like actual law. It is illegal to use any sort of software or betting aid to help you with betting strategies in a casino in Las Vegas. They broke that law. Like there's no definition you come up with where they didn't break that law. Now, is that law going to be enforced? Is there going to be any legal ramifications? I don't think so, and I hope not, right? Because hopefully we can handle this internally. I do think overall that it's sort of a good thing that this happened when it did. And I don't ever want to rake this kid over the holes because I think like he was just like in the moment, like he sort of said, like, I'm just playing, man. They're just telling me what to do and I'm just playing. You know, you mentioned something, Terrence, like, is it okay if you have a coach in the rail who's giving you specific strategies from his brain? Yes. Yes, it is, because coaching's always been allowed in that regard, right? What you can't do, or what the rule should state going forward, is there is absolutely no use of any poker aid software or charts inside the tournament area, which is defined by the entire, facility. In addition to that, underneath that, you put what does solver use entail? That means getting a text message from somebody using it and using it. So here's the thing. The edge you get from this, I think we all agree, is kind of minimal, right? Like Jonathan didn't need to know 2.1. It's like gives him a small little advantage, right? Now you're going to ask yourself, is it worth that advantage to risk, if the penalty is severe, being DQ'd from the tournament, right? So just the simple threat of saying, if you get caught doing this, now you're right. There's always going to be people that try to do this or find loopholes, right? But having in place a much more clear rule, as you said, Terrence, not, possibility, but this is it. This is like not okay. I also think, though, it's really important to have discretion here. I think really important. I'll tell you why. So if Dominic Nish is doing this, knowing the rules, he should get the full letter of the law because he knows better, right? When Arkansas Jim, who just bought GTO Wizard, right? He's looking at it and he's playing on his phone and he's playing a 1500 and he's like punching in a thing. He doesn't. This is a guy you give a warning to. So sorry, sir, you can't use those in the tournament area. That is a poker aid, whatever, right? Okay. If he uses it again, you give him a 2-round penalty or whatever the case may be. But I think like the issue or the tough part of this was laptops have been on the rail for 10 years. They have. But what's been on those laptops has been the stream. This is the first year where they're crunching numbers in real time to update stack sizes to give you opening sizes and range adjustments with the big blind ante, right? And they're, that doing that in real time. Now, real-time assistance, right? He called me a moron, Dominic, for saying this, I'm so shocked by his response to all this. He went the completely wrong way. Instead of being apologetic to the black stain that it is on poker, he's like, screw you all, bro, nerds rule, Like, okay, cool, congrats. But, damn, I lost my train of thought there.
You're talking about RTA.
Yeah, RTA, right. So there's varying degrees of RTA. Obviously, the most egregious version is you're literally using a solver to tell you what to do in each hand. But it's also RTA to do this. You're under the gun, Terrence, the very next hand, right? You have 8 bigs. You look on your phone and you literally get the answer and exactly what you should do. And then you use that information in real time. That is a mild version of real-time assistance because it's going to help you on the very next hand. Very mild, right?
But it is. I just don't like using the same word for two things because I think it creates I think if people start throwing around RTA, it diminishes what RTA abuse really does look like, which is obviously like we know in the online world is like guys literally on the flop, turn and river, punching into the solver and figuring out like that's a much different animal than what was happening.
Sure.
So I don't like using the same term for both of these.
And I get why. I do it to sort of, because it's accurate, because it's true, obviously, like I said, and to show that there are varying degrees. And to point out that this is like giving the person, and again, you could say, well, coaching does that too, right? Sure. But coaching comes from human beings. Coaching comes from the minds. Like me telling you, Terrence, watch out. Adam's got to tell. When he blinks 3 times, he's bluffing. Like, make sure, you do this against him. That's strategic talk. That's what you do, when a boxer is, in between rounds, his coach is telling him stuff like that. It's a very different thing than actually getting like something directly from AI solver use or like specifically, like pre-flop charts or anything like that. So I think as long as we're clear that it's not just a possibility, you will get a penalty. You'll get but in the tournament discretion, TD discretion, no solver use whatsoever. And that was already sort of the rule because we went into the World Series. Remember that time there was a guy at the table before the series started and he was using, something at the table and people were like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And there was a big brouhaha. So this came up, right? And we're like, well, how do we handle this, going forward? And, it's all new, right? It's all something we have to tackle and deal with in the future. But I do think we can, and I think we can do so quickly by simply making it very, very clear that it's not to be tolerated. This isn't good look. It's not okay. And I've heard far too many Rex and other people say, "Man, I would have played the minute, but this turns me off of playing." Because nobody
Yeah.
wants to feel like, Jordan too. Like, guy's an amateur, right? And now not only is he playing against, Jonathan, who specifically said he could not have won without Dom. He said this. I couldn't have won without Dom and Joe. Well, Dom was using a solver, like in real time. So his help was giving him, solver use. Like, from Jordan's perspective, like, or any amateur, like, I'm playing against a pro who's got a team who's using solvers and computers to beat me. What chance do I have? And that's the narrative we don't want to come away with, which is why I think very aggressively, making this rule, if anything, on the too aggressive side rather than the passive side, until people start to get the message, And again, but you're right, Terrence. Like, listen, people are always going to try the earpiece or something like that,
Yeah.
and cheat. That's poker. People always cheat, but we can still put in rules to, punish those that do.